All right, in this video, we're going to take the site one step further, and we're going to add a footer to the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead down here and click the little plus button, and I'm going to use just, again, the flex layout here. I could use a predefined layout, but I find this is just gives us a little bit more options. So we're going to go ahead and go direction row and grab my footer. Now, I like to go ahead and let's start with a color, go up to style, change my background type, and set it to a nice dark color, something that matches the rest of the site. That looks good. And I also like to make sure that we're going to rename this to footer. It's just going to help me a little bit. There we go. Now, of course, we're not using the pro version. The pro version of this, we could have built the header and the footer separately, and it would have applied to every page. We're instead using the free version of Elementor with a couple plugins turned on. So we have the ElementsKit. So we have all of the nice ElementsKit plugins. There it is there, the widgets, I should say. And we also have the essential add-ons installed. So two fantastic extra plugins to give us extra power without needing to go to Elementor Pro, I should say. Elementor Pro is fantastic, but of course we're using all free software here. Now, inside the bottom here, I'm going to go ahead and add a few things. Now, it's pretty common to see a logo or a site search and things like that. I'm just going to go ahead and add a nav for now. So the best nav I find in the free section is, to be honest, is to build it yourself. So going ahead and dragging my text editor down, and now I have a little button here. So I can come in here and say, this is going to be my home page. This is going to be my about page, my portfolio page, my contact page, and my find a store page. All right, so there's some nice links down here. Of course, I'm going to want to link all of these, so that would be highlighting each of them, going up to insert link, and making sure this goes to the home page. So on this one, just go ahead and type home and click it. And same with about. And portfolio. So I'm just going to quickly add these, and then we'll move on. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Did it 3 times now. I don't believe I've even built this page yet, so we're just going to point that to the home page too for now. Perfect. So I've got my links down here in my footer. That looks great. Awesome. I also want to add my social links. So I'm going to come up here, search for social. Now there's 2 social icons. There's the social icons that come with Elementor. We're going to use those ones. There is the ElementsKit ones, but I actually prefer the ones that come with Elementor. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag that beside it. Wait until we get that. There it is. Perfect. That looks pretty good. We can add new ones. Just click Add Item. It's saying WordPress. Don't worry about it. Just go ahead and check a different icon. So if we wanted to say, for example, LinkedIn. There's my LinkedIn. Click it, insert, and you can see it'll switch it over to LinkedIn. And you just put your LinkedIn URL right there. Now, if you don't like the official colors, that's fine. Go up to Style at the top, change the color to Custom. By default, you won't see any changes. You got to set these still. So your primary color, that's the background color. You can see. I want them white or black or transparent. Just go ahead and drag it to transparent. And your secondary color, that's the link color. It's whatever these are going to look like. So I actually might want to keep them white. They look pretty good. The size of the icons. The padding in this case doesn't really matter. That's just the space around each icon. I can leave that at a reasonable, you can see it's being set in M's. I don't like it when it's being set in M's. I would rather it be set in pixels, but in this case, this is just a multiplier. So this is 0.2 times whatever this is. So for example, if this was 30 and this was 0.5, this would be 0.5 times 30, which would be 15. So this would be equivalent to 15 pixels. We're just going to keep it down. 0.2 is probably fine. Gives us enough clickable area around it. And of course, our spacing is also in pixels. Perfect. Now, one of the things you might want to do is if you can go back to content, you can also change, how they're lined up. So if I can go, for example, 1 column, 2 column, that's kind of cool, right? And the alignment's not going to do much. And the reason why the alignment isn't going to do much is because if I look at the footer, it's using, under layout, it's using my direction, right? So instead, I'm going to control how they line up with these. So instead, I would say probably like a space between and move them over. And I'm thinking this would be better all the way across. So we'll go auto. Very good. A couple things I want to do is, this is looking a little tall. Let's just duplicate this. Have 2 of them. And then we can go ahead and remove some of these links. So they're just in the second column. I don't know. Doesn't really matter what we're doing here, but then we can remove these ones. It's looking a little bit better. And then maybe one more item we're going to add is another text header just on the side here with a little description. Don't worry where it drops. You can always move it. Sometimes it's a little difficult. Sometimes you can also, as long as things are selected inside, like you have another one selected, if you click text editor, it will put it beside it too. So that's fine. Let me try to move it beginning. There it goes. And I'm just going to stretch this down so it's nice and small. So this would be like about the site, for example. Awesome. The only thing I would say is it needs a little bit of spacing above and below. Most people find the spacing element to be the easiest to use. Oops. It's called spacer. The problem is if I drag this in right now, I'm going to have the same issue that I had anywhere else. It's going to add it to the left. I want it to be on top. So in this case, again, this is a great place to use a container. Just like we used a container in the header, we're going to use a container down in here. So drop this down. Yeah, we're just going to click on it. There we go. So I got my spacer. I've got my container. You can see it here. And we're going to start dropping all the stuff into my container. Don't worry about the order just yet. We're going to go ahead and make this container go left to right again. So go ahead and click on it. So again, we're in the container inside. Go left to right. We're going to go ahead and make sure it's spaced between. And then we're going to change the order to how we want it to be. Perfect. Now I got my spacer. My spacer's still on this side. It's still in the wrong spot, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is, again, now I need to change the direction of the overall container that's containing this spacer and this container. I want it now, instead of being left to right, I want it to be top to bottom. There we go. And there's my spacer. These are really nice. They literally can just adjust how much space they're taking up. And I can do the same thing. I can now duplicate this and just drag it below. And now I have some nice spacing around my footer. Nice and easy to use. No problem. And that's looking pretty good. The last thing I probably want to do is put a little copyright line down here. And the easiest to do that is, honestly, let's go ahead and add another text editor. Let's put it down here by the spacer. So click on my spacer first. Go up here, click text editor. And we're going to put it as a copyright. The best way to do this is go to text, because we want to go ahead and use the copyright symbol. So we can write copyright, and then we can use this. It's the ampersand sign, the word copy, and a semicolon. So spaces there. If I put a space, you can see it's working. If I put a space, it's picking it up anyway. It's kind of funny. But if there's space there, it'll break. This is the correct way to do it. And then I can just put the year. Copyright 2024. Education purposes only. Perfect. And of course, I can go ahead into style and adjust that. Now, the only other thing you'll notice is, do you see how these don't line up? This one's a little bit further in than this one. So it doesn't look great, does it? The reason why is because containers actually always ship with what's known as default padding. In order to fix that, all you got to do is select that container that's doing it. Go up to advanced. I know we try to stay away from advanced, but we're going to go here. Under padding, just go ahead and put a 0. That'll apply a 0 all the way through, and it'll get rid of any of that spacing. So make sure you go ahead and test to see what this looks like on tablet. It's a little tight, so the best way to do to fix this is actually just come into this container here and go ahead, back up to advanced. So I'm back into the footer, back up to advanced, and add some padding. 10, maybe 20 pixels, maybe 30 pixels. It's going to add it all the way around, but that's okay. In this case, I think it's okay. Right? And then go ahead and check on what mobile's doing. Now you know that we can change these things because we see the little mobile emblem right there. But this one's a little silly, right? These should be stacked on top of each other. That's fine. All you got to do is make sure you're editing the container that you want to. Go to layout and make sure wrapping is turned on this time. As you can see, it worked perfectly. You know what? Let's not use wrap. Let's go ahead and instead change it to column vertical. Perfect. What you'll notice when you go column vertical is the widths are off on this one. And the reason why is because I had actually overridden the width when I went ahead and changed it here. Right? When I actually, way back when on the desktop view, I actually grabbed the side of this and started dragging it. Right? So that would apply to both the mobile tablet view and the mobile view. So in order to override it, that's fine. What I actually did when I went ahead and dragged it, don't drag it again, just go up to advanced. What I actually did is I set a custom width to it. All I got to do is make sure that I set the width right here. It says word mobile. Let's go to default. Or no, full width. That's it. Sorry. Now just on mobile, it'll override it to full width. If I go to tablet, it'll be normal. If I go to desktop, it'll be normal. And I can adjust these too. So I can go back to tablet and actually adjust this a little bit. Sometimes it's a little finicky. You'll notice you'll move it to where you want and it'll pop back, but it's actually doing okay. And again, all it's doing is changing the width here. So it's the same thing as just doing this. So if you'd rather not stretch it this way, you can just go to advanced and set a custom, do a custom and set the width. Right? And you can see it's still full width here because we overrode it when we were there. Fantastic. All right. Now you might notice there's weird space in between this. What's actually happening here, check this out. Under container, go back to layout. That's the gap. You're not seeing it, but this gap could be overridden. So we're just gonna put a 0 and then I'll suck it right up. And then you can see, well, you need some space, right? So there's a couple things you can do to fix this because we don't want the space here, right? Any more than there already is. But we do want it here. So a couple ways we can fix this. We could go ahead and click on these individually and add margin just to the bottom. We'd have to go ahead and click on this and then just type in, let's say 20 and move it down. That's fine. That's probably the easiest way to do it. And same with this, click on this, go to advanced, turn off this, link values together and put in a little bit there. Oh, sorry, a little bit here on the top and bring it down. That looks better. Right, so we probably want to do that. That's the easiest way to do it. The other way you can do it is going ahead and adding a spacer again and then just hiding it on desktop, right? But that's looking pretty good. Fantastic. Last but not least, let's just do a little bit of fine tweaking. I'm gonna go into style and I want to set the alignment on this to be centered just on mobile because we are on the mobile. And same with these ones. Go ahead and center them. And center them. Now everything in here, oh, this one too. Center. So now all of my footers center and it's just on mobile. So if I go up in size, you can see it's correct alignment again. That footer's looking pretty good. All right, so the last thing I need to do, I'm happy with this footer. I really like the way it looks. So what I'm gonna do is save it. So make sure you click update. Let's go ahead and back all this up for a second. Right click right here. So it's collecting the whole thing. You can also right click on this side as well. But make sure you're selecting your header and go copy. And then I'm gonna go up to my hamburger. And I'm just gonna go to another page. So I have my about page, my portfolio, my contact pages to add it to. So I'm gonna go ahead and click Finder. This will let me quickly switch to my about page. There it is. Fantastic. I don't have anything else on my page, so I'm just going to go ahead and pretend I'm just going to add a quick section here and pretend like this is some sort of section. And then I want to go ahead and add my footer. Now, don't click this first. Just right click in this section. It has to be inside the section, but definitely don't click one of these first. Just go ahead and right click in here and just go paste. And that'll paste your footer right in. Perfect. All right, I'm going to update that and then do the same thing to portfolio and contact.